Nintendo, more Nintendo, and Mark Hamill. The hills are alive with the sound of, oh my god, this week was for the win. Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Oh My God, This Week Was For The Win of the New Year. I'm your host, Luke Brown. You might remember me from the Collector's Edition show, the New Releases show, or as the champion of the 2009 Drop It On Your Sheets Fantasy Football League.
All right.
Is that joke too inside for you guys? All right, we'll just move it right along into things you actually care about, I hope. Nintendo's president Satoru Iwata was recently interviewed by Japanese mag Asahi Shimbun, where he not only discussed plans for a new Zelda game to hopefully be completed by the end of 2010, but he also spoke about possible future plans for Nintendo's successor to the DSi. Zelda we kind of already knew about since it was briefly touched upon after E309, but a new portable system? That's an entirely new can of worms. Iwata claims this hypothetical handheld will come complete with highly detailed graphics, and it will be necessary to have a sensor with the ability to read the movements of people playing. Great. So it'll have the graphics of the PSP, but all the functionality of those little mazes you used to get when you were 3 years old. I don't understand why Nintendo is so obsessed with motion controls. I mean, yeah, the Wii continues to sell like war bonds in 1942, but they can't expect people to be dancing around planes, trains, and autogyros to play any of these games. And if it's just an accelerometer, iPhone games are annoying enough. The last thing I want to do is tilt my system in midair to cast Firaga on the next remake of a Final Fantasy game. Hopefully these guys will come to their senses and just reimagine the DS a few thousand more times. Despite the great success of the Wii console, some developers are actually finding the game sales a bit lacking. Sega and Capcom have both come forward this week with criticisms of Nintendo's console as a viable home for unrated games. While Sega seems only slightly annoyed that they're unable to make money on more mature titles, Capcom has declared their experience with the Wii an utter failure, claiming, "For us, the future is the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Of course, the internet rabble-rousers who will likely criticize Sega and Capcom for daring to speak ill of the Wii are the same people who think bitching at others to buy mature-rated games is furthering the cause. I just don't understand how there can be a hojillion Wiis in households across the globe, but games like Resident Evil Darkside Chronicles can't sell more than 25,000 copies. Just to give you an idea, if only 1% of the people with a Wii in their home actually bought this game, it would have sold 650,000 copies. It's like Capcom finally gets a shot with the most popular girl in high school, you know, the one that everybody keeps talking about how awesome and hot she is and that she puts out on the first date all the time. But when push came to poke, all Nintendo wanted to do was talk about her family and how she believes in Christ. At least Capcom got out before it got any worse. Sega, on the other hand, keeps hanging around, hoping that one day Nintendo gets drunk enough to make a horrible mistake. You know, something like Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Winter Games. This may come as a bit of a shock, but apparently nobody ever asked Mark Hamill if he'd like to voice Luke Skywalker in any Star Wars-related video games.
I got a bad feeling
This
about this.
bit of news comes from an interview old Luke did with CVG, where Mark, also mentioned that he's completely fine with not doing the voiceover work for one of the most popular and recognizable heroes of all time, considering that he's in his 50s and Skywalker was in his 20s during the original trilogy. To that effect, we have yet to see a game where there's an older version of the Jedi Master, even though there's no shortage of expanded universe fiction featuring an aging Luke. For the time being, I'm more than content to let the man's current work speak for itself. Don't get me wrong, I love Star Wars. Hell, I share my name with one of the most respected Jedis to ever roam the universe.
Mace Windu?
Yes. But Hamill's got more than enough other credits to his name that he doesn't have to keep going back to that well in a galaxy far, far away. I'm more than content just having the man continue in his role as the Joker in Batman games, or
Navi and Darksiders.
I got nothing. Well, we'll see you next time.